Bulls Nation, one day has gone by, and in that day for the Chicago Bulls, since my last video, there has been a lot of news to uncover for the Chicago Bulls. Some of it is good news, some of it may be seen as bad news, and some of it might not even be true, but the reality is, over the course of today, there was big talk around the league which affected the Chicago Bulls in many ways. So without further ado, let's talk about all the news that needs to be uncovered for the Chicago Bulls in this video. Let's do it. What's up, everybody? It's the Aidan Sports Show, and welcome back to another video. Today we've got a Chicago Bulls related video, and this one is referring to some of the news updates for around the NBA that affects the Chicago Bulls, and also a little bit of Chicago Bulls news for us as well that may not be seen as the best of news for many people. We're gonna have to wait and see on that if it is going to be a positive sign for the Chicago Bulls going down the line. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls news that I'll be discussing today. There's a lot. There really is a lot to talk about. There's a few things, and I feel like I'm going to forget something, but fingers crossed that I do not. Without further ado, let's get started straight away. There is something that I failed to mention in my last video that should be said, and that is Tomas Satoransky is getting a lot of trade rumors, or I guess a lot of teams interested in him, especially contending teams. This is something that Woj and Zach Lowe said that I did not mention in my video, and I feel very bad that I did not do that, because I feel like that's a very important person to talk about. Someone that, if we were able to trade him and get some cap space, could really benefit the Chicago Bulls going forward. So I feel like in terms of potentially trading Satoransky, there could be a good area where we could maybe trade him for a pick, which could be a very good way to free up some cap space while also getting a pick in the NBA draft, maybe a late first rounder, things like this. A lot of contenders don't really need that first round pick. Teams like the Clippers, teams like even the Brooklyn Nets, teams like the Lakers. There are many teams that I believe could potentially would want Satoransky and in return give up a pick to do so. So yeah, that's going to be very interesting to see down the line if that can be a possibility. That benefits the Chicago Bulls, in my opinion, because we're really going for another point guard on the team. Satoransky might be seen as very good for a contending team. I believe he would be as well, considering he is a type of point guard that can fit a job, do a role, and he could do it very well. So I'm very intrigued to see if that's something we could do on draft night, which I believe is only 2 days away now. So we have a lot to look forward to. Speaking of the draft, there is a lot of talk around the Chicago Bulls and potential draft prospects now. Again, we only have a second round pick, so for many people, this might be some news that might not be accustomed to, but there's a lot of talk about a potential player being drafted by the Chicago Bulls, and his name is JT Thor. In the end, he's a player that is 6'10", I believe. He is a power forward. He's someone that has really good confidence in himself. I believe he averaged 10 points and a block per game. Things like this is very interesting, and he's worked out a lot for the Chicago Bulls. There are a few teams that are very interested in him as well. I believe the Celtics have worked out with him. Brooklyn have worked out with him. Of course, the Bulls have worked out with him multiple times, potentially Portland as well. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of players, there's a lot of teams that have worked out for this player. So the Chicago Bulls would need to trade up to try and get this prospect. But at the end of the day, this could be someone that could come into the Chicago Bulls and do very, very well. And again, he has a lot of confidence in himself. He seems very hardworking, and he seems to be a player that has, according to his own words, very good potential. He's 18 years old as well. So very interesting to see what will happen in this area. So yeah, I'm excited to see what the Chicago Bulls do. Obviously, this is not the end-all be-all. Maybe I make a video on this player if you guys want me to. But at the end of the day, that seems to be a draft candidate the Chicago Bulls are very intrigued in. I feel like a lot of people are excited if we can get this player, but there could be a chance we trade up. So let's see if that's a possibility for the Chicago Bulls down the line. Next up, we've got some Pelicans news that affect the Chicago Bulls. The Pelicans traded away, I believe, Eric Bledsoe, Steven Adams, and I believe the number 10th pick to the Memphis Grizzlies for the number 17th pick, a second round pick, I'm not sure what pick it was, and Jonas Valanciunas. And the Pelicans did one hell of a trade here, in my opinion. Obviously, Eric Bledsoe was someone that they were keen on trading from a while back, in my opinion. So that makes a lot of sense that that trade went through. And again, it got rid of some cap space for them. Steven Adams was making a lot of money for them. And I don't think Steven Adams fits a certain type of team. I'm not sure if the Pelicans was that team, which is why you saw a lot of, I guess, of a downgrade from the Pelicans over the recent year. I'm not sure Steven Adams fit the Pelicans whatsoever. So it made sense that he got traded as well. And Jonas Valanciunas, in my opinion, is one of the best centers in the NBA. So the fact that they got Jonas Valanciunas from Memphis Grizzlies is absolutely stunning. Memphis Grizzlies was reported to just want that draft pick and could potentially even do more trades, like trading Eric Bledsoe again to get a better draft pick. I feel like Memphis Grizzlies has kind of shot themselves in the foot here. They got rid of arguably their best player next to Ja Morant to try and get into the NBA draft and try to get for a top 5 pick. I understand it, but in my opinion, if they do not get a successful player with their pick, if their pick flops, then I feel like they're going to be in that stage of rebuilding for a long time to come now. They should not, in my opinion, have gotten rid of Jonas Valanciunas, but at the end of the day, if they're desperate for that pick, hopefully that pick does well for them. But yeah, whatever the case may be, I'm not too thrilled with the Memphis Grizzlies here. But the Pelicans did one hell of a trade here, in my opinion, and they did all the right things to do it as well. I'm very impressed with the trade that they made, and I definitely think the Pelicans won this trade. The question is now, what is this going to do? Because this frees up a lot of cap space for the Pelicans. And there are 2 signs here, which one of them will affect the Chicago Bulls. The one affecting the Chicago Bulls is that they could potentially match now any offer sheet the Chicago Bulls give to Lonzo Ball. If they truly see Lonzo Ball as the main fit for the Pelicans and someone that will really help them, then at the end of the day, they could match an offer sheet from the Chicago Bulls now, which is very worrying. And at the end of the day, it's a possibility, which means the Chicago Bulls will be more inclined to do a sign-in trade over just trying to get him as a restricted free agent. So the Chicago Bulls, if they're really intrigued in Lonzo Ball, may have to switch up the way that they try to get Lonzo Ball to this team, and a sign-in trade might be the way to go now if they match any offer the Chicago Bulls do want in free agency. Secondly, this could potentially be someone to go. This could be a way to go after Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry has been reported as a very interested player for the Pelicans for a long time now. The Pelicans have been reported to looking for veteran players. Kyle Lowry is looking for a long-term deal. I believe the report was $3 million or 3 years for $90 million. Which would, again, that's quite a bit of money for a team, for any team realistically, and the Pelicans might see that as worth it, and that makes a lot of sense as well. And yeah, these are the 2 options that I see going the Pelicans' way. Either they go for Lonzo Ball, they commit to Lonzo Ball and they sign him, and the only way we can get him is through a sign-in trade, or they go after Kyle Lowry and we could still get Lonzo Ball in restricted free agency. These are the 2 options in my opinion, and let's see which one down the line they will go with. But again, it is a bit worrying that the fact that they did this, and now it's basically in New Orleans' hands now. There was a lot of talk that the Chicago Bulls were the likely favorites. Now maybe the Pelicans might be the favorites to get Lonzo Ball and re-sign him. So we shall wait and see how that goes. Obviously, if they're looking to make more moves, we're going to wait and see. Hopefully the Chicago Bulls can make some moves sooner than later, and that could maybe give us a better chance to go after Lonzo Ball. The next news is there's serious discussions about Derrick Rose potentially being an option for the Chicago Bulls. There have been multiple places now that have been talking about Derrick Rose as a potential landing spot. What I said last night pretty much stands here as well. I would absolutely take Derrick Rose. I believe he could give us something as a starter or even off the bench. And whatever the case may be, I would absolutely love Derrick Rose on this team. There's no question about it. He's an icon in Chicago history for many people. And many people grew up watching Derrick Rose. And again, if you've seen what he could do for the Chicago Bulls, I think most people would be happy. Obviously, he's a completely different player now than when he was back then. But the bringing him back, I think, will make a lot of people smile. And it's not like he's done at the NBA level. He still has a lot to offer. And if the NBA playoffs is anything to go by, he could potentially do it in a Chicago Bulls jersey as well. So we're going to have to wait and see in that area. And my opinion hasn't changed from yesterday to today. Next up, and I believe this is the last thing to talk about, Billy Donovan and Dennis Schröder have mutual interest in each other, and Dennis Schröder is potentially interested in joining the Chicago Bulls, and Billy Donovan is interested in Dennis Schröder joining the Chicago Bulls. These guys have had a relationship since the OKC days, and probably even beyond that, I'm not too sure. But this is a worrying sign. But again, I'm at this point now where I've always believed if Billy Donovan wants a player, then the management team should go and get that player for them. I truly believed when we went after Patrick Williams and Billy Donovan said, I want Patrick Williams, the board at Artorias Eversley got him Patrick Williams, and that was the right decision to make. And Billy Donovan was able to work with a great player like Patrick Williams, who will get better and better. Dennis Schröder is someone that I'm not too keen on. I'll be honest. I haven't been keen on him for quite some time. I don't hate the player. I never hate players from the NBA level. I just think if this team was completely different, if this team was more defensive orientated, I would absolutely love a player like Dennis Schröder. However, we are very offensive minded and we're not really a good defensive team. So I don't feel like Dennis Schröder is the right fit for the Chicago Bulls. That's the only reason I wouldn't take him. And at the end of the day, I'm not too keen on this move, but I've always been a believer if Billy Donovan wants a player, then the Bulls should go after a player. So if this is true, that Billy Donovan wants Dennis Schröder and Dennis Schröder wants to join the Chicago Bulls and has an interest in doing so, then I'm not going to say I hate this move. I will back the coach and I'll back the management team behind the Chicago Bulls. I'll back Artorias. I'll back Eversley to hopefully make the right decision. And if that's Dennis Schröder, then that's Dennis Schröder. But at the end of the day, I'm going to say this now, I'm not too keen, but I will back Billy Donovan if that's the player that he wants. And we'll see what happens down the line. But again, like I said, I'm not keen on this move. I've never been keen on this move, but I will back what Billy Donovan wants. And if that's who he wants, then at the end of the day, if we get him, let's see how it goes. And we'll give him the benefit of the doubt for the Chicago Bulls. And I believe that's all the news that we have to discuss today. These have been a lot of news coming out from today from the Chicago Bulls. I feel like you should expect news every single day coming from the Chicago Bulls by me, by other people, other YouTubers, reporters, analysts, wherever you can find it. That I feel like there's going to be a lot of news every day around the Chicago Bulls at this point. With the draft and free agency coming up, we tend to be aggressive. We should be aggressive. So there should be a lot of news coming around. And these are just some of the things that came out today. If I have missed anything, I apologize. At the end of the day, there could be things I haven't seen. But I feel like I've covered most of the news for the Chicago Bulls. And we're going to end it here, and let's see what will happen down the line. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Let me know in the comments below about any of these players you want to discuss. I feel like today we've discussed Lonzo Ball, obviously. We've talked about Kyle Lowry. We talked about Tomas Satoransky. We talked about Derrick Rose. We talked about JT Thor, potential draft prospect. And we've talked about Dennis Schröder and Billy Donovan in this video. So we still have a lot to talk about. There was talks about DeMar DeRozan, but I just don't feel like we're going to get DeMar DeRozan, so I didn't really want to express that to you guys as well. It seems like the Chicago Bulls are still pretty interested in DeMar DeRozan, but again, I don't see anything happening in that area. DeMar DeRozan had an interview saying that he would like to go to a contending team, and however good we are, we're not a contending team at the moment, so I feel like that would contradict what he said. I feel like either if he leaves the Spurs, he'll probably go to a contending team. And it seems like there was a lot of LA talk. I'm not really sure if that's going to be possible, but if it is, we'll see what happens down the line. Have a wonderful and safe day, Bulls Nation. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more Chicago Bulls videos. Take care and peace.